Hey, welcome back to Business 163, Personal Finance, and we are now in module number 9. Module number 9, dealing with the topic of investment. And as you might guess, this is a very, very deep topic. We cannot begin to even do more than just provide some basics for you to begin to understand this very rich topic. This can be a lifetime of study, but we want to give you enough so that you can sort of have some mental coat hangers, so to speak, to hang concepts on as you think about investing specifically from the perspective of your own financial literacy. All right? So, as you can see here from the title slide, as we get started in Module 9, our very first question is, are you ready to invest? Are you ready to embark on this interesting journey of trying to figure out, how do I grow money for the future? Am I ready to invest? And so as we go into this very next slide, we want to remind you that there is a difference between saving and investing, right? So this is all review. We already had this in the module on saving, but it's worth repeating. Saving generally has a short-term focus. And the primary goal of saving is the money that you're putting in savings, you want to make sure you have it safe until, if you run into an emergency or some reason why you need to use that generally short-term savings account. Relative or compared to saving, investing, on the other hand, has a much longer-term focus. And the primary goal of investing is to earn a return over time. And when we say earn a return, we are, of course, as the last bullet point, talking about a return that outpaces inflation, that your money is growing greater and more than the way that overall prices and the overall cost of living is increasing over time. Because if you think about it, obviously, if you are getting a return of, let's say, maybe perhaps just 1.5% on your investment, but the cost of living is annually increasing at about 2%, well, then the cost of living ends up outpacing what you're earning as a return, and you're going to end up in a very, have a very bad surprise when at the end of the day you're ready to withdraw your investment to actually use it for whatever your goals are. So, as you can see here, the goal is in investing to take the money that you want to invest and earn a return that outpaces inflation. Now again, this is all review from the previous module on saving. But let's go a little further. In order to be ready to invest, and you can see from the little graphic I've included here, right, that the time horizon for saving is perhaps 0 to 5 years, but the time horizon for investment is typically significantly longer, between 10 and 60 years. And therefore, when we think about that, are you ready to start investing? And here is a short bullet list taken right from our textbook, by the way, pages 82 and 83 of our textbook. So a checklist, a mental checklist to see whether or not you're really ready to begin investing some funds. So what's the checklist involve? Well, it would really advantageous if, number one, you have gotten to the point in your life where you have steady income relative to your cost of living. And so typically that means a job that you can pretty much rely on, a career that you're building, right? You have a steady source of revenue or income. Step two, you have money left over after meeting your financial obligations. And of course, that has been what all of the modules in this class up to Module 9 have all been about, right? Getting some control on your spending, figuring out on a regular basis what's your monthly budget, therefore that you are figuring out how to live within your means and get control of those things, that you're managing your credit and your credit reputation or score, right? So you're doing all those things. And then number three, you have considered the effect of big upcoming personal changes that may be in your time horizon, or even in your dreams and aspirations, right? So for many of us, those include big events like marriage or having children or divorce or a job change, a career change, right? So you've considered the financial and economic effects of big life change stuff. right? So that's step 3. Step 4, you've built up your savings, including a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And that you've got that safely tucked away before you start really aggressively establishing an investment capital fund. Now, I do want to be careful here. We are not saying that you absolutely should not invest anything until you have that emergency fund all the way built up. We're not saying that. But what we are saying, of course, as you might guess, is having your short-term priorities are well on their way to getting organized before you start thinking about long-term priorities. Just something to think about, all right? Now, back to the slide. Number 5, you've done your homework before investing in anything. And we'll talk a little bit about that. There's more in your text as well, your textbook, about how to do your homework, how to research potential investments. You don't want to just invest in something because some guy at the bar told you it'd be a good investment or something similar than that, right? You really want to be able to start doing your own homework. We'll talk a little bit about that in some of the videos to come. Number 6, you know your risk tolerance. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but there's more in the textbook about that. And some of this has to do with what's your time horizon, and a lot of it also has to do with who you are as a person in terms of what you're willing to tolerate in terms of risk and uncertainty in your investment portfolio. Number 7, you've set some realistic expectations for investment returns. Did you realize that generally speaking, your savings is only going to return somewhere between 0 and 2%? In terms of an actual return, whereas you're really aiming for something with investments somewhere between 8 and 10% average return annually for your investments to really pace the market of what's available. All right. So finally, step number 8. I'm losing track of the numbers here. The last step on this slide, you have developed a diversified investment plan. Now, we'll talk more in the very next video module about what is diversification and why is that important. But obviously, when we talk about getting a hold of your financial life, we've talked about creating a plan, right? Which we call a budget. Well, when we talk about investing, we're also talking about you developing a plan. And what this module is intended to do is to equip you with the components, an understanding of the components, so you can develop an intelligent plan. I realize right now, this very first video, you may be saying, well, what are even the moving parts I need to consider? And that's what this module is all about. All right, so the whole idea here is that when you have made a little headway in understanding these 8 criteria in getting prepared to really start investing some of your money, then you're really ready to rock and roll. And so we want to make sure that you understand how this works and how it fits into the broader picture of your financial life. So, having said all that, what is investing? Well, one way to put it is that investing is leveraging the priceless financial concepts of compound growth, risk, and diversification to earn returns sufficient to meet your future financial goals and requirements. And I do want to say, in this module, we are going to say a lot of different things, but we're not going to cover everything that could ever be covered on this topic, right? There are financial professionals who have made an entire career of learning and growing in their knowledge and application of a lot of advanced topics in investing that we'll never be able to get to in a class like this. Rather, this module is intended as an introduction as part of this larger overview we're conducting in this class of growing your personal financial literacy. There will always be more to learn. Now, that being said, I don't mind telling you, I am both an accounting and a finance major, and I am still constantly learning new things about this world of investing. It is a lifetime journey. And for some of us, that's what we want to do, to dedicate an enormous amount of time to learn about these things. And for others, this is simply a component of your personal financial literacy, personal financial health, but it's not the main thing. And we totally understand that. What we want to do in this module is give you enough to get started. And so we hope that you will enjoy the balance of this module. Welcome to Module 9 on investing. We'll see you in the next lecture.